After Tinubu left, Amira felt the weight of his gaze lingering, but she remained composed. She knows that rejecting a man like Tinubu is risky, but her spirit is unbreakable. As she continued her work, she's aware that this won't be the last time he tries to win her over. Deep inside, Amira's resolve strengthened. She may not have the wealth or influence Tinubu has, but she was determined to not let herself become another of his conquests. Tinubu's ego took a hit after Amira's rejection at the town square. His usual tactics of charm and manipulation fail, and he becomes fixated on winning her over, not out of affection, but out of a desire to dominate her. To him, her resistance is a challenge to his power. Over time, Tinubu begins to use more aggressive means to get Amira's attention. He sends people to harass her, follow her around town, or try to intimidate her into compliance. However, Amira remained steadfast and refuses to be cowed by his actions. As Tinubu's obsession grows, he uses his influence to make Amira's life harder. He blacklists her from certain jobs and spreads rumors to isolate her socially. Despite this, Amira remained defiant, unwilling to let him break her spirit. As Tinubu's advances become more dangerous, Amira realized that rejecting him outright won't be enough. She needed help, so she made a decision that she never thought she would think of. It was late in the evening, and the streets were mostly empty. Amira was walking home from work, the same route she always took through a narrow path lined with trees. The night is quiet, with only the soft sounds of crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves in the breeze. There's a serene beauty to the night, but a sense of unease begins to grow. Tinubu has been watching her for days, learning her routines. His obsession has grown to the point where he no longer cares about appearances or subtlety. He's convinced that Amira is playing hard to get, and he believes that if he can just get her alone, he can force her to submit to him. Tonight, he plans to make his move. As Amira walks down the path, she suddenly notices a figure step out from the shadows. It's Tinubu, standing directly in her way. He's dressed in his usual fine clothes, but there's a menacing air about him. His face, usually composed and confident, now reveals a twisted mix of desire and frustration. Amira immediately feels the danger in the air. She instinctively tries to step around him, but Tinubu blocks her again, his body language making it clear that he won't let her pass. The silence between them is heavy, and Amira's heart begins to race, but outwardly she remains calm and composed. "Why do you resist me, Amira?" Tinubu said, his voice low and threatening. "I can give you everything you've ever wanted. Wealth, power, protection. All you have to do is stop pretending and accept what I'm offering." His tone went darker. "No one has to know. I can take care of you." Amira meets his gaze, her voice steady but firm. "I don't want anything from you, Tinubu. Let me pass." She refuses to show fear, though her mind races for a way out. She knows what he's capable of, but she also knows she has more power than he thinks. Tinubu, frustrated and enraged by her continued rejection, snaps. He grabs her arm roughly, pulling her toward him. His grip is tight, and she feels the full weight of his strength. He leans in, his breath hot on her skin, whispering, "You'll give in eventually. You have no choice." Amira struggles to pull away, but Tinubu is too strong. Her heart pounds, but she doesn't scream. She knows no one is around to help her, and she refuses to let him see her panic. Instead, she focuses, drawing on the inner strength she's inherited from her grandmother. "You think you can resist me forever?" Tinubu growls, his voice filled with anger. "I control everything in this town. If you don't give in, I'll make your life hell. No one will hire you. No one will protect you. You'll have nothing." His hands roam, growing more forceful. As Tinubu forces himself closer, Amira suddenly becomes very still. Her struggling stops, and her breathing slows. She closes her eyes briefly, whispering something under her breath, a quiet, ancient incantation passed down from her grandmother. It's a powerful curse, meant to protect her from men like Tinubu. Tinubu, sensing the change in her, hesitates for a moment. Her calmness unnerves him. He expects her to be terrified, to break down, but instead, she's like stone, unwavering and unyielding. Confused but still driven by his desire to control her, he continues, unaware of the curse she is invoking. Amira's whispered words hang in the air like a silent storm building strength. She looks into his eyes and says in a low, firm voice, "You will never have power over me, Tinubu. From this moment on, you will follow women for the rest of your days, never finding peace. You will be cursed by your own desires." Tinubu suddenly feels an overwhelming wave of dizziness and disorientation. He stumbles back, releasing her as a strange fear grips him. His vision blurs for a moment, and an intense pressure builds inside his mind, but he doesn't understand what's happening. What have you done?" he mutters, his voice trembling for the first time. Amira steps back, watching him with cold, steady eyes. The power of the curse flows through her, and she knows that the balance has shifted. Tinubu, once so arrogant and confident, now appears weakened, his fear growing as the curse begins to take root inside him. "This is your fate," she says quietly. "You will never control another woman again." With that, she turns and walks away, leaving him standing there, confused and terrified. The night is still quiet, but there's a different kind of tension in the air now. Tinubu tries to shake off the strange sensation, but it lingers, growing stronger with each passing moment. His mind becomes flooded with an uncontrollable urge, but it's different from his usual desire for power. Instead of controlling women, he now feels an irresistible compulsion to follow them, to be in their presence, yet never to conquer them. Over the next few days, Tinubu begins to realize the full extent of the curse. No matter how much he tries to assert his power, he finds himself drawn to women in ways he cannot control. Instead of being the predator, he becomes the haunted. He became a slave in the hands of different women. His obsession, once his weapon, now becomes his downfall because he lost all his money, wealth and assets because of women controlling him. The once so powerful and rich Tinubu turns to a laughingstock in the community.